What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phase 6, your source for music, business, motivation, and support. It's your boy, Sir Love. We've got another dope episode for you guys today. Today we're talking about why you should give away your publishing. Ooh, that sounds creepy. Everyone says, don't give away your publishing. Always protect your publishing. Read the contract. Make sure they don't take away your publishing. Well, why should you give away your publishing? This is going to be an interesting concept. If you haven't heard of this before, like, subscribe, follow the channel. It's going to get interesting. Let's do it. Alright, boom. First off, I'd like to say, before I jump straight into it, then I'm back with the new improved swag. I decided to go ahead and grow a little beard out. It's getting cold outside, so I figured I'd switch it up a little bit, keep my face warm. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know if y'all rocking with this or not. Anyway, but that. Jumping into the topic, let's talk about some publishing, right? Publishing. In this game, we hear the concept all the time. Why you should give it away is the theme and the name of this video, and I want to talk about it. So a couple things you have to recognize about publishing. For those that don't know what publishing is, you need to watch a couple other videos that we've dived into publishing. I think I have a video that talks about pub deals. I have a video about publishing as a whole. Watch these videos so that you just know what I'm talking about, okay? But from a high level, publishing is basically the money that you make off of your music being licensed. Either it's licensed through a record label or it's licensed by someone that's playing your music. We talk about that in mechanical royalties, performance royalties, all this other type of stuff. Watch all those videos. I'm pretty sure we'll post them on the side so you can see them, but that's publishing, okay? Now, in this game, you're told not to give away your publishing. And the reason you're told not to give away your publishing is because historically, artists have been extorted. They've been robbed. They've been cheated. Their publishing has been taken from them. They've given their publishing away for $1. They've given their publishing away for chicken wings in one particular instance that I've heard about. Artists have given away something that's so valuable for so little, and the stigma now is no matter what, hold on to your publishing. And what we're getting away from is the understanding of what publishing is and how to use it correctly. Now recognize that publishing is a long-term asset. By asset, that means it's going to be similar to owning a stock or a bond or something of that nature, or any other a patent or any other long-term resource, a license, any other long-term resource that you can use and sell to recoup money from, right? That has value, which value increases or decreases over time as the value of that particular product or the demand for that particular product or service increases, decreases, whatever. It's not just a music concept, okay? Publishing is the stock of the business, long-term asset, okay? So anytime you have a long-term asset, the reason they tell you not to sell your publishing or give away your publishing is because they want to make sure that if you write a song today that gets resurfaced or remade or redone or remixed 10 years from now, that you're still getting paid off the new version. How many times do you hear a remix or a redo or a sample of an old record when you're listening to your music today? This is very popular in hip-hop culture. It's very popular in urban culture. It's also very popular in the form of covers in country, in pop, in rock, and in all sorts of other genres, okay? You might do a song today, it gets made tomorrow. Someone redoes the song as a saxophone, a jazz rendition of the record. Someone does a rock rendition. Some famous YouTuber does a cover of your record. All these different versions will pay out on your publishing. Therefore, your publishing is the gift that keeps on giving, baby. We talk about it in the info pack that I've created, and I go real in depth into how these things pay out long term. But for right now, I just want to give you guys a concept of the value of publishing and why it's important. Because anytime someone uses your record, you get paid each time that record is played. And if your record is being played in multiple countries all around the world multiple times because someone else made a hit off your record, that's the value of publishing. If your record gets put on a commercial, every time that commercial runs, that's the value of publishing. If it gets put in a movie, you get where I'm going with this, okay? So, why should you give away or sell or leverage your publishing? Let's get to the topic. Number one reason why you should do it is because you can trade long-term equity or value for short-term equity or value. What do I mean by that? I mean, just like any other investment, you can say, hey, I need $50,000. Think about a home. If a person owns a home, right, they may have a home that's valued at $300,000. They go to the bank and say, hey, bank, I need to take out a loan against my house. The bank says, okay, we'll give you a $100,000 loan against your $500,000 house. If you do not pay us this $100,000 loan back, we're going to take your house, essentially. You can do the exact same thing with publishing. You can say, hey, I'm going to allow, well, not the exact same thing, but a rendition. You can say, hey, I'm going to leverage the value of my long-term asset for short-term immediate cash. So a lot of you artists are out here trying to figure out how to get cash flow to push your project forward. And you haven't even considered saying, hey, I can leverage my publishing for immediate cash today. There's an investor that, or a person that's considering investing, a person that may put money into my project, and I can say, hey, listen, if you give me X amount of dollars up front, I'm going to give you X amount of ownership over the publishing over these records. And if that person that you're talking to values your records and can see that these records are going to appreciate and get more plays or get more streams or get used in commercials or have viability to be successful in other ways long term, it's worth it for them to gain a piece of that asset. Just like we invest in stock. I look at stocks and I go, oh, I want to own some shares in Disney Channel, not Disney Channel, but in Disney, because I see that Disney is going to be a long-term sustainable company. So I can buy shares in it today, it's going to be worth more later, and I can sell it to someone else, right? The investors are thinking the same way, or they can just hold it and get the payouts from it, which in stocks are called dividends. You get payouts. If you own stock, if you own if you're owning publishing, as that record streams and gets more and more popular, you're getting payouts for, every time that record is licensed. So number one is leveraging your short-term, your long-term asset in publishing for short-term cash so that you can move around and do the things you do. Number two, second reason to do it is an equity bargain, which is very similar to the first one. Equity bargain, this isn't necessarily an industry term, but by equity bargain, what do I mean? I mean, if you watch Shark Tank, you'll see a situation or a scenario in which the sharks will basically say, in order for me to give you X amount of dollars, we're going to need X amount of percentage in your company. So if I'm giving you $100,000 and you're telling me that's only worth 10%, then you're telling me that your company is worth $1 million, and that if I give you $100,000, I can only own 10% because that's 10% of $1 million, right? And then the sharks will go, well, is your company really worth $1 million? And they'll go back and forth and they'll try to figure out what it's really worth, and they'll say, hey, I'll give you $100,000 for 30%, or I'll give you $200,000 for 40%, or whatever, and they play with the equity, right? The whole concept of this is that the value of what you own, your long-term asset, going back to that concept, is stipulated by the perceived value that the person has off of what either they can create from it or what the market can create. So when you get a publishing deal, for example, publishing company may know this song is perfect for the direction that sound is going. A lot of music supervisors are asking for this particular type of sound right now because movies in this particular genre are popular, and this sound, for whatever reason, fits that. They know that they can shop this to X amount of television stations and make their money back. You may not be aware of that because you're not a publisher and you're not studying television commercials, and you don't know what's hot in television. What's hot on radio and what's hot on television are two different things. And so they may buy into the equity of the record. They may say, hey, I want the whole record. I give you a check up front, right? Or they may say, we do some type of co-pub deal. We want some type of ownership over the record. Either way, you're getting a check up front for equity on your record. The benefit of selling your publishing or giving up your publishing is to have immediate cash. I can chop this up in 5 or 6 different ways, but each way is going to go back to the same abundant truth. You have to make sure that if you're giving away your publishing, you're getting a check for it. So a lot of you guys out there right now are trying to figure out how to fund your project. And I'm telling you right now, trade your publishing. Don't trade it all. Don't be stupid. Next question is going to be, well, how much is my publishing worth? I've done all sorts of deals. I've seen a deal where a person paid $5,000 for 5% of somebody's publishing. Now, there is no market standard for your publishing. There is no way to determine what it's worth unless it already has some type of long-term sustainability making money in the field. you already got commercials, you already on television, you're already doing this, you're already doing that. If that is not the case, you might find yourself giving up multiple records or publishing on a whole EP or whatever in order to get startup capital to push your records forward. But this whole conversation that I'm giving you guys is a new perspective to let you know that, hey, number one, you have assets, you create value, you have intellectual property, and that is when you write records. And I know I'm talking real legal right now. If I kick it on the other side, it's like, hey, bro, you produced it, right? It's worth something. If you're trying to get some cash, trade what you got for what you need. Keep it real simple. And if you have to explain it to somebody the way I broke it down earlier, break it down to them and let them know this record's going to make a lot of money over the course of the next 40 years. How much is Reasonable Doubt worth for Jay-Z right now? Interesting conversation. So, I don't want to talk you guys heads off on this. I just did this whole video to give you guys a basic concept to let you know that, listen, if you're broke right now as an artist and you're trying to figure out how to get some revenue, what you need to be doing, well, not what you need to be doing, but an option that you can take is creating value for yourself by making yourself appealing either for televisions, commercials, radio, streaming, whatever way you're creating popularity for yourself. You can take some of those records and you can sell some of the equity in those records to somebody else to get startup capital to reinvest in yourself. And remember, in today's market, records are like this. We're making so many records. I mean, you can give away a whole EP and 2 years later, you got 3 more EPs out. How much did you really lose? It's worth the conversation. I don't know everything. I know a lot about a little bit about a lot. And every time I jump on the scene, I'm trying to give you guys everything that I got. So I need y'all to focus, beam in, get out here and get successful. Go to www.phasevi.com. Check out the website, learn more about the games and tips that I give you guys. Check out the contact information. Text us. We got a text number on there. We got a contact form. If you have questions, please, this is a resource for you. We're here to help you guys out. So, no further ado, I'm out of here.